Oh my god!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Manga Recap. We're back, and it's November 7th, aka the first proper recording we've done in nearly a month, and the first recording of Weekly Manga Recap following Halloween.
Yes, we are. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Quinn.
I'm Quinn, here with the long-haired November cat spirit. Oh, you're Rob Lucci from One Piece! Oh, I thought it was like a character at first, and then I was like, wait, no, I just know this individual. Holy crap, that's so awesome!
I have had this in mind for months, and
It is absolutely incredible. I love the face makeup. That seems like a ton of work had to go into that.
it's all Nicole. So she did all that. She found the wig. She found the top hat. So, yep.
It is an incredible look. I honestly, I feel like you should rock the Rob
itchy.
Lucci look. That happens. I think the Rob Lucci look is fantastic.
I can't really see, so
Well, Rob Lucci can wear glasses, Nick. You know.
there we
That
go.
makes...
It feels like it takes away a lot from
Actually,
it.
I was wrong. Rob Lucci should not wear glasses.
Not with glasses. I can see my own little video. Oh, this is not staying on, by the way.
No, I mean,
I have to get it all perfectly balanced. I can't move around at all.
I was gonna say, yeah, this is the Spookmaster General conundrum most years. Is she realized she's like, oh, the hat doesn't really stay on, so.
I was even having sound issues before because I made sure to put in my earbuds instead of wearing my usual headphones so that I could wear all this crap on my head.
Well, unfortunately, I have no way to match your incredible outfit. I am just going as a woman recovered.
You're
from
cosplaying
surgery.
as a healthy person right now, yeah.
Healthy and asterisks. I'm like a week and a half out from a surgery, so there's still a little bit of mending going. Oh my god, you painted like the back of your neck and everything too. This is very detailed. Yeah. That's
well, I didn't paint it. I didn't do any of this. This was all Nicole.
Sure.
So.
When I say you, I mean collectively the we that is ultimately Nicole.
Gotcha.
Nicole deserves
yes,
this
I
praise.
put myself through having this be applied, yeah.
But you are the canvas upon which this glorious art flourishes, so you both deserve praise.
I did a great job of sitting still.
Hey, sometimes someone with ADHD, that is a big brag, actually. So
This is very weird because it actually, like, when I add the glasses to it, like, it actually looks better without the accessories because it doesn't completely disrupt the look.
the only real upgrade you could do would be to take off the shirt and then have the world government logo scars on your back.
I didn't go that far.
I was going to say, because I saw you start to take off the tie, and I was like, Nick, if you have the world government scars on the back, I will high five you and then stop the show, because we will never proceed to do anything better than this.
I gave consideration to painting my nails for literally the first time in my life so that I could have, like, claws, and I was like, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
So, oh, God. I am so happy to have you back, Quinn.
Thank you.
We have not had a proper hangout time because you've had so much going on in your life, and although I know how important all of it is, I'm glad to get to reclaim my small portion of your life again.
Aww.
So
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. I did listen last week to the episode you recorded alone. I thought it was fantastic. You brought a lot of really good insight to the series you discussed. It was very interesting hearing your thoughts on several of those series that we haven't heard in a while. And it was also just tremendously wonderful for me to get to hear your voice again. So I appreciated that. To the audience who is listening right now. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was like, to the audience that's listening right now, thank you all for any concern. I know some people have sent well wishes and things of that nature. I am ultimately fine, but complications have made it so last Wednesday was legitimately the day I had my surgery, so I was not going to be recording that night. And then this past Wednesday, unfortunately, was not a good day to record. And today is, thankfully, and should be in the foreseeable future. I am on, as they say, the upswing. So
we're back, baby.
Yeah, there's going to be a backlog. There's a bonus podcast that needs to go out. There are regular episodes that still need to go out. Your episode that you recorded needs to go out. I am definitely behind on some things I'm going to try to catch up on. But yeah, recordings, everything like that, weekly manga recap still going strong. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I had some people like asking, like, is this what weekly manga recap is going to be like from now on? I was like, no, guys, this is strictly temporary. It's okay.
Yeah, I
just didn't want to go like 3 weeks without an episode.
Yeah, no, it has been a cataclysmically kind of chaotic past couple of weeks here, as I both prepared for the surgery, prepared for my boyfriend to be here, also kind of was getting schoolwork kind of tossed on top of me over and over, starting work soon. So a lot of things going on, and but all of it's really good news for the positive. So, it's just going to be a little bit of a shift and adjustment as we do it. But we have a fantastic audience who seems to be extremely patient with these things. And thank you so much for doing that, because this would be a much less fun thing to do if the audience made it suck the entire time. So, I really appreciate you guys being cool and not sucking.
Oh, boy. All right, should we go back to manga then? Can we see what we've missed?
Yes, we should. Now, you recapped a lot of things last week. Basically covered about a month's worth. So rather than necessarily going back and trying to cover 4 weeks worth of manga, 3 weeks of manga, something like that, we are just going to cover the chapters that came out in this most recent week, which means, there's no Blue Box, there's no Marriagetoxin, we're not going to be talking about, World Trigger or Black Clover or any stuff like that. I think we may have already talked about that World Trigger chapter.
There is a Marriagetoxin.
Is there a Marriagetoxin? I thought I didn't see one, but...
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Oh no! What a fool I am!
It's also my fault because I didn't add it to my list when there was one.
Oh dear. All right. Well, I will look. Yeah. As it is, I'm already not caught up on all of this week's manga, so there is already going to be a couple of them that I'm going to be live reading. And Marriagetoxin just got to be another one of those, I think.
All right. Let me just add that in there. There we go. Okay. All right. But I guess we're gonna start off with Ichi the Witch.
Yes.
So it's 57th Hunt, Love and Hate, continuing with the Octobomb Magic. It's such a strange title. Who details when he first manifested, and it's like, yeah, I made a friend right away. There was this fish darting around, so I named it Darty. And I was alone a lot, and Darty got separated from its school too, and we got along great, and we went everywhere together. We swam together, we played together, we flopped on the seafloor together, and that was how Darty died. So, after that, the Octobomb Magic declared, it's like, wait a minute, isn't this actually Darty's fault that this happened? Since he was so weak. I can't control how strong I am. If it was so weak that it could get killed, that's its own fault. And it was this weakling's fault for being weak, and I don't ever want to be sad like that again. And that's why I'm shivering right now. Because I've just run into someone who could be my bestest bud of all time. And of course, the Uroro-possessed Ichi is in front of him, looming over him. Uroro is lording it over him, almost literally, because he's still got the crown and everything. And so he's like, oh, I see. So I got to kill you, but you just don't die. And the Octobomb Magic is like, yeah, I'm really proud of my regeneration. And so Uroro says, what if I literally just vaporized you? There is a way I've heard, to kill magics regardless of their trial. So if
Paying
I
attention to that for
just
later.
mm-hmm. So he suggests, what if I just break you all the way down to the cellular level? Could you still regenerate? And Octobon Magic is like, step on me, daddy, and be my best friend, because yeah, if you do that and I can still regenerate, then could you be my best friend, please? And Uroro grins, and then the Octobon Magic is like, yay! And, so he does something. He does a super Inazuri and says, the fox goes yip yip, and
It is
blasts apart.
insane what his magic can do in comparison to what we've seen Ichi do with that same thing.
Yeah, this is like creating massive impacts in the waves that are rocking the ship all the way over there. And the Yataba magic does actually get broken down to the cellular level, but he can still like think and feel as the cells start to come back together, as he's like, this is great. This must be what it's like to have a best friend. And Roro is like, this is so good. Yeah, I could just kill whatever I want. I want to do it over and over again. And he's like, where's the closest harbor? Oh, it's 600 miles from here. Okay, well, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna launch a giant thunderbolt that way then. But as he lifts up Ichi's dagger, suddenly his body jolts. He coughs up a little bit of blood, and we see kind of like the cloak in Ichi's magic circle of Ororo's wings cloaking him, and it's starting to be impacted as Ichi starts fighting to regain control. And Ororo objects and says like, no, it's too soon. And Ichi's like, nah, time's up. No, and Ichi's like, time's up, let me out. And he busts out of it and coughs out like the little shade of Ororo, and he regains seemingly consciousness and control of his body, as Aurora was really pissed off at his fun being cut short.
Interesting.
So now we...
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
I like the chapter. I think it is a fun little, execution of the my body has gone berserk kind of thing. We've seen a great many series do this. So it's always about the execution. I think the execution is pretty well done. I don't think it's perfect. I kind of wish the moment Ichi like broke free had more dramatic tension to it. There's just various if he doesn't, Aurora probably kills people. But it is still a very cool moment of Ichi being like, nope, time's up. My turn now. Give it back. Give it back.
Yeah. So now, of course, like Kizashi has gotten maximum my best friend happiness and suddenly had that snatched away. So that's definitely going to have an impact on him.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Notably, in the flashback we see where he's talking about Darty, you can actually see the number on Kizashi's chest, and it's 999, indicating that it's like a finite thing. Like it's not something that apparently has accumulated. It's something that he maybe started off with, and it's been depleted over the course of years and years and years. So interesting, if that's the case.
Yeah, that is a very interesting thing. I wonder at what point did he encounter the World Hater magic then? How many lives was he at that point?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the fight will continue next week, it looks like. So I guess we'll head over to Chainsaw Man. It's chapter 219, The Bereft. Last time Denji was given the opportunity from Asa briefly wresting control of her body back from Yoru to finish her off, but instead of doing so, he chopped off Lil D and Fami and Swordman's heads, and also messed up the bird thing that Little D summoned. So Yoru gets control of her body back and goes bang and shoots a hole right in Chainsaw Man's chest. So we go back into that inner world where Asa and young Denji had encountered each other, and Asa's like, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you waste that opportunity?" And Denji says, "Don't look at me. I'm not controlling Pachita." So Asa is in despair because she's like, I don't have the ability to do that again. I can't save you anymore, Denji. And Denji thinks to himself, and he says, a smart-sounding devil told me not to screw up my next choice. I like how he describes that. Not a wise devil once told me that. They sounded smart. So
Some smart sounding guy, which we know which devil he means, but he could have meant any devil when he started it that way. He's like, the dust devil told me that I could save money if I bought the nuts separately and then mix them at home.
So he says that, a lot of people have been trying to persuade me into choosing one way or another, but I figured it all out just now. This is a message from Pachita. Our dream is to lead a normal life, and I'm supposed to choose between Yoru's world or Lil D's, but we wouldn't be able to lead a normal life in either one. That is what Pachita is trying to tell me. Let's make our own world. And there is some sort of he fades out along with the alleyway surrounding them, leaving the Asa in kind of just a void almost, and with normal Denji in front of her extending his hand to her. And he says, "I'll invite you to our world too, Asa. We're fellow parent killers after all." You don't have to keep on bringing that up, man. It's you've already had the body moment. You don't have to. It's just kind of an awkward thing that kind of resets the conversation every time you bring it up. Asa cries and says that she wants to accept, but she can't because half of her is a really dangerous devil. Which Denji's like, so am I, so that's no problem. And he takes her hand and says, "If your devil is going to get in our way, then me and Pachita will murderize her for you." We cut back to the real world as Yoru very helpfully plops Lil D's head back on her body. And she admonishes Chainsaw Man, saying, if you kill Death Devil, then her powers will activate. So don't do that. Lil D says, "Thanks for that." And Yoru says, "Well, I didn't do it to help you." And she says, "Well, yeah, well, thank you anyway, because, I would rather not die." And Yoru asks why that is. And Lil D just says, "Because I'm excited for the school festival." She just wants to be normal. All these people just want to be stupid teenagers, all of them. Yoru, however, seizes on the opportunity and says, "I just saved your life, and that means you belong to me now. Death is your domain. Life made you weak. There's no way we could ever befriend humans. You've disgraced us, sisters, but I can't have you dying yet. So be my living weapon until it's time for your next role. Death's Sword." And Lil D's body starts to contort and formulate into a weapon. And then Chainsaw Man eats her entire upper body along with Yoru's arms in one gulp. Lil D's body staggers and falls over, and Yoru starts going, "What? Wait! Time out! No! Don't swallow her! No!
No, this isn't fun. This isn't cool."
And she brings up, if death is erased, how are we ever going to prove which of us is stronger? Because ultimately, a lot of the devils are stupid kids like that. She gets pissed off then and says, "How dare you eat my older sister?" And she gets set to go after Chainsaw Man. And it's interesting because of a couple of things here. First of all, there seems to be kind of a moment of maybe it's the idea that Yoru is forgetting death because death no longer exists after eating her. But she does remember having an older sister. So that's, I don't know, that's just a little bit odd because like the way that we've seen the powers portrayed before, people just literally forget about it and then realize something weird is happening and realize like, okay, something must have been erased from the world.
Does that require the entire devil to have been eaten? Because half of death is still technically there. Like, I don't know if it's like, well, until you eat her torso and legs, she's actually fine.
Denji did have to eat literally all of Makima's remains. So maybe that is it.
Yeah. But there might still be some effect of eating half of death or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but, it's interesting though. No matter what, it's interesting just to watch Asa and Chainsaw Man / Buchi to have this fight while there's like a different conversation for everything else. Oh, is he eating it off panel? Mm-hmm. All right, maybe he is. I don't know. Okay, well, we'll find out. That's what the next week's for, right?
I don't know if that's necessarily true because like we don't see the legs get picked up at any point. He could just be chewing on the upper torso that he bit off.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we will find out soon. And until then, we need to go to Dandadan, Dick. This is Dandadan chapter 216. And I unfortunately have to zoom in because it's a long one. Look, we're being attacked by space aliens. So
that's right.
I feel I need to speak to the series though before we start.
Oh,
I need to speak.
Oh, okay.
So it was brought up multiple times that Quinn must have hated that last chapter of Dandadan, or like, oh, Quinn's avoiding talking about Dandadan at this point because she can't get to these episodes. I've seen these comments. I'm noticing them. I actually liked last week's
Discord.
I liked last week's Dandadan. I appreciated that if we were stuck with that situation, at least Momo's friends are the only ones who are just like, fuck this noise. You love this guy. We're just gonna push you two back together again. Like, it's stupid we're doing this. So I really deeply appreciate that. So I just wanted to have fun for the record. Dandadan last week was pretty good. Now to this week. We pick up where we left off last week in the, what do they call it? Open space? Other space? I always forget the official name for the battle realm they basically fight in. But there are a bunch of Serpos and some kind of mummy guy on a bike with a katana. And
empty space. Yeah.
Empty space, that's right. And there is immediate action of Okarun grabbing Momo's wrist and being like, run. We don't have powers. This is really, really bad right now. And the Serpos are all kind of trying to do their attacks. And there's a moment where Okarun kind of looks and tries to shield Momo and block an attack. Nothing really happens. He just kind of tumbles to the ground. And all the Serpos are like, what is the meaning of this? Our awesome zone has been dispelled. But Momo notes like, Okarun notes like, it's affecting me a little bit, but not like before we all like slammed our heads into the ground. Maybe it's because, and he remembers the spiritual training he did where he was able to eventually do like a handstand with his spiritual energy. That must be what affects it and allows kind of a counter. So there's something good there.
I do like the contrast while he's in training where he's like, I can't, he can't extend his legs. And then next to him is like, oh, perfect form. Straight up and down.
But there's a moment we can see of some kind of spiritual energy resonating inside Okarun. So good stuff there. Momo starts blowing on the whistle that Germain gave her. Because she's like...
No hesitation. I like that. It's not like, some moment of tension of like, oh, is she going to use it or not? She's like, oh, I'm in trouble. Blow it. Immediately.
Yeah, immediately do it. And Okarun is basically hey, that won't do anything. Just run right now. And she's like, why not? this is a crime prevention whistle. If somebody hears it, then they'll call the police. And Okarun has to explain, like, nobody will be able to hear it.
Nobody's
and if
doing
you
this.
keep blowing in it, you'll run out of air. So please don't do that. As they escape, one of the Serpos says, "Mr. Driss, why are you dawdling?" And the mummy sarcophagus man,
Describe what it is, Quinn. It's very straightforward. Like, there's nothing unusual about this guy.
on a bike with his ribbons kind of cut up into gearing, and he's holding a katana.
Ribbons.
Whatever, what do you call them? Wrappings? Mummy wrappings?
Bandages.
Okay, fine. I didn't remember the exact name. Bandages as the inner workings of the bike. And Serpos are like, hey, if this is a problem, could you not use a different body? And this individual, without speaking, Mr. Driss, as they're referred to, sends one of their bandages around, and it slides underneath the tires of the bike. And there's a moment where they see the Serpos are coming from in front of Okarun and Momo, and they're like, oh no, which way do we go? And Okarun's like, Miss Ayase, stop. And she almost starts to fall through the street. Okarun seems to only be okay because he is standing on the kanji writing that is on the street that is a different color than it, and he is able to pull Momo up, basically using it. But anybody who was on the street itself is falling through reality, including not even like on the street, but anyone who was on like concrete. It seems to either erase a color or a material or something. All those Serpos are just falling through the ground. Excuse me.
I love the reaction of some of the ones that aren't falling because they realize what's happening and they're like just like clinging on to the bits of sidewalk that they're on. One of them looks like he's sneaking through security in a really cheesy spy flick flattened against the wall.
Yeah, they're all like kind of trying to like smush themselves in. And it seems that the decision to do this confuses even the Serpos, who are like, hey, why are you causing harm to us? And, Mr. Driss doesn't say anything. He just continues to kind of sit there on his bike with his bandages. And Momo and Okarun have like a quick, wait, hey, who are these guys? What are they doing? And Okarun just says, yes, we're being attacked by aliens right now. And she's like, why? Are aliens usually like mummies on swords? And Okarun's like, how should I know? But hey, Mr. Driss is coming at them with the sword. Okarun says, hey, stay behind me and keep your head down. Puts his bag in front of him. Big 2-page spread of Mr. Driss's like sword attack and how it just kind of like shoots out like a cannon as he shoots by. It's incredibly fast. But Okarun's still standing after all that. In fact, he's holding on to something very tightly between his fingers, and it seems to be kind of shielding him from the main thrust of the attack. And we see that it's a little tiny stick. And he says, hey, I'm not, I'm fine, because Momo's like, hey, are you okay? And he's like, no, I'm fine. I now fully understand how to use the Ogre Club that he was given before from Grandma Seiko. And he is told to put the energy into the point below your navel, then from the top of your head, and continues it into the present, says, visualize the creation of a laser beam. And now in his hands, he is holding a full-size, not humongous, but a actual club-sized laser beam weapon. Very cool.
Kinta's got to be so pissed off when he sees this.
He's going to be infuriated. He's like, how did I not get the laser sword? This is some bull.
There's some funky stuff that happens in this very rapid fight that we've got. I really like the way that the stand only on the white is activated. It reminds me of Shunsui, his powers in Bleach when he started doing his bullshit with shadows and colors and stuff. But I like the stupid inventiveness of like, well, if I can only be on white, then I'll make sure that I put a bandage under the tires of my bicycle that I ride around on. what? Just like explain in like 2 sentences like how this guy operates. Like, well, you see, he's an alien possessing the body of some sort of mummy, but he fights with a katana and rides around on a bicycle.
Look, I'm waiting for somebody to be like, Quinn, Nick, don't you understand the Drix yokai of Japan? It's very commonly seen as an Egyptian mummy riding around on a bicycle with a katana out. Like it's very. You must have seen it in Persona or Pokemon, one of the games that referenced it. Yeah, I like that, and you know what? I got a thing for little nerds with big energy swords. And Kuwabara was a guiding principle to me. He was a nerd, he was a bully, but same kind of principle, just like characters with energy swords who are kind of like loser schmucks in a way. It's maybe one of the best inventions they have out there. So super excited to see Okarun do some cool stuff.
I particularly like the panel of the aftermath of the blow, where Okarun is like still having absorbed the fall through the attack, and Momo's right behind him. Something about the way they're positioned, the anatomy of it is just kind of really neat, because she's like bracing him. And they're both like awkwardly, balancing between the two parts of the kanji on the street writing and stuff. It's just a very cool panel to me. Also, gotta say, Okarun has been making some gains, because from a fully lying down position, have to lift up a human being is not easy when you've got good footing under you. And he does not. So
yeah, there's a lot of very impressive upper body strength going on, but we know Okarun is low key like cut now. Like he's been putting in the work. All right, Nick, it's time for Gonron, right. Gonrororon. Did you do this joke last week?
I did not, but I was definitely thinking it. Gonron Egg, Chapter 2, all smiles. Yeah, last time our heroes came together, and we get a bit of a recap on, how some of this stuff works. So there is an explanation as well of like, hey, so, that ball that you took out of the Dracarch you killed before, that was actually its heart. Its concentrated life essence, and eating it allowed you to absorb the Dracarch's power. And you'll need that to incubate me, so consume as many as you possibly can, because, the prince is going to stay an egg for a while. Mm-hmm. So, then Gonron eats, and the prince continues to feed off of his essence as he eats. And he kind of gives him a little bit more of an explanation and says, like, this is my plan for, what I want to do once I regain the throne. Because, when my father was king, there was peace. Dracarchs did not enter the human realm, but as soon as the new king usurped him, the Dracarch invasion of the human realm began. But you and I shall restore peace, and humanity can develop a just and ethical society. Children will study history, culture, and philosophy. Food will be plentiful, and scavenging a thing of the past. And he imagines this with like a bunch of like eggs with eyes sticking out of their shells, like studying books and stuff. So, Gonron agrees to help out, and on top of this, so there's the fact that we did establish something that I didn't really go into much detail on last week, if at all. It just wasn't something that really came up outside of just a little bit, which is that Gonron's sister has been separated from him, his sister Iris. So the prince is like, yeah, all right, sure, we'll rescue the woman. And Gonron's like, that's my sister. Don't think of her like that. So...
Oh, did we lose Nick?
Long hair. I'm still here.
Okay.
I promise I'm...
Yep, I just heard you now.
There are connection problems.
Oh, no.
Oh, no connection problems tonight.
I see him moving now.
I'm going to will it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're good.
They come across more enslaved humans. There is a young, long-haired one who is basically being put to death by one of the Dracarchs, who says, "Oh, this young boy, Ulta, took an offering that was intended for me. And he just said that his dying sister should have one last good meal. Fuck that kid, am I right? How fucking arrogant is this piece of shit?" That's basically what he says. And then I ate her. That was great.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It is pretty much what he says.
The Dracarch, whose name is Beamtail, even though the kid's being put to death, Ulta sucks up to him and is like, "Yeah, I'm sure that she would have wanted you to eat her. That's great. Yeah." And Beamtail's like, "All right, I'm gonna kill you now." Goes to strike with his tail and knocks Ulta off of a perch, but Gonron transforms, flies in, and stops him, saves the kid, and so the kid's like, "Oh, why'd you do that? Why did you rescue me? I was going to finally be at peace." And Beamtail comes up again. He seems to be bigger, but it was kind of hard, I guess, to just get an idea of his size before, in comparison to the humans. He is like truck-sized, basically. So Ulta gets down on his hands and knees and says like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." It's like, this guy was literally just trying to kill him, and he's just like so entirely broken that even still he's not defying him at all. So the prince is like, "I knew that like you, Gonron, were being treated horribly, but I kind of just thought that was because you were like defiant and insolent." And Gonron's like, "Fuck you." Your people conquered mine. Don't question the way I behave. But he says like, this is just the way that humans get treated now. There are thousands of victims like him. So he says to Beamtail, "Hey, we're trying to create a just society with equality between humans and Dracarchs. We want to return to peace, the way that there was under the former king. Would you be willing to assist us with that?" And Beamtail says, "The former king? Fuck you! No, I'm not going to be compared to you assholes." So Gonron says, "Looks like we gotta kill this guy."
Dang.
He says after.
Oh, man. Oh, I can hear you again.
Hang on.
I can see you.
I'm going to just. Going to turn off the camera because we're having such trouble.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, I will do the same on my end then.
Okay. Yep, sorry for the connection issues. It seems to happen sometimes when we do this on Fridays, I feel like. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, Gonron says to Ulta that, things are so bad now that you can't even hate the murder of your own family. But don't worry, once we kill that Dracarch, you'll be able to stop laughing at yourself. And Beamtail's like, whatever, the former king deserved to die. And Gonron cuts him with a rapid series of slashes with his dagger. And Beamtail's like, "Wait, what the hell? What's happening?" And he looks at Gonron, who he sees in the image of the former king, and starts to beg for mercy as Gonron just cuts his head fully off and kills him. Gonron addresses Ulta and the other freed humans and says, "A day will come when humans can live with pride again. If you were to die, you would never get to see it. What happened to your sister? I'm sorry." And Ulta finally is able to actually cry tears of sadness. Gonron gives him a hug, and he eats Beamtail's heart to continue to power up. He and the prince set off, and their adventures continue. Yep.
How do we feel about Gonron Egg, Nick? We didn't get to really talk about it last week, obviously, since I wasn't here. Is this chapter doing anything? Is it moving the needle for you?
I feel like this is just a very kind of just generic sort of chapter 2. It's really just kind of continuing stuff that we saw in chapter 1. There's not a whole lot of new stuff outside of establishing this power-up system, which is not all that like big. It's like, all right, he's gonna eat the hearts of the Drakarks that he kills. Okay, whatever. The only thing that really I feel like is making this stand out to me thus far is that the series is willing to be gruesome and violent in its combat. That's the only thing that really is setting it apart. That and like the art style is different to stuff that we're seeing otherwise in Jump right now. I don't think that we're seeing much in the way of like very interesting writing or characters yet, though. And I don't know if we're going to get a chance to really see that.
Yeah. I've been trying to find what it is about this series that turns me off so much on it. I can't tell. Like, part of me is like, oh, well, this is definitely edgier than Jump usually tends to go. There's a lot of like, oh, this person's dead. This thing's been killed. Violence is it's definitely a more mature setting for a series. But I think the biggest thing is just that, I don't know, I feel like we've seen a lot of these sorts of series and all of them are either better or canceled. And I think this one's just going to end up being in that latter section, unfortunately. It just doesn't hit in the moments I think it needs to hit.
Yeah. There hasn't been really a moment in all this where I've looked at it and gone like, oh, that was so cool. And like, despite the amounts of heads being chopped off and stuff.
Yeah. It just reminds me of Magu-chan. I just rather would read Magu-chan again.
There is a little bit of that, especially because the one-eyed partner, certainly.
Yeah. All right. Hima-Ten, Nick.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be number 65, Friends on the Eve. So yeah, Himari is talking with Terasaka, and it's Christmas Eve. She's kind of like down in the dumps a little bit. So Terasaka's like, weren't you like looking forward to Christmas? And Himari says that because she's been so busy lately, she didn't have time to shop for Christmas presents. And so nothing is like ready for the day that she's going to be spending with Iamori. And Terasaka says, I can get the present for you. And isn't that nice? So two of like Himari's fangirls in the class come up. Terasaka very helpfully provides us with their names, but sorry, girl, I'm not going to memorize that shit. I don't think we're going to ever see these two again. And they say like, hey, it's Christmas Eve. And Himari says like, oh, did it work out for you guys? And they're like, yeah, it did. And Terasaka's like, what you guys talking about? And they say like, oh yeah, we asked her for advice earlier because we both wanted to go on a date, and so we asked how we could get a date. And Himari's like, yeah, that's right, that's when you got to take things into your own hands. Yeah, Himari, God. You tell him.
Sure thing, girl, do as I say, not as I do.
They don't need to know that. So they apparently like just made a Insta story saying like, we're a couple of happening girls wanting to go on a date. They have a Christmas date, but as they get the details, Himari is concerned as she and Sumire tell Iamori later, because the guys that contacted them on social media is the college guy that Iamori saw hitting on Kana's friends the other day. And so they're like, I don't know if like this is a good thing, because maybe this is like some creepy playboy, and maybe like, these girls won't be able to handle that situation. So Himari's really worried about it. But when she learns that Sumire and Iamori were out the other day together, she's like, when exactly did this happen? And we get a very good reaction face from Sumire, who has to come up with a quick excuse because they're like, we can't tell her the real reason we were out together because we were out getting her Christmas present, and that's supposed to be a surprise. So Himari's like, yeah, we ran into each other while shopping. Yeah.
That's the ticket. I mean, technically, not a lie. Like, it would pass zone of truth in a way.
Not really. Yeah. But Himari says, kind of like pulls Sumire for an aside and is like, I know you guys have been friends for a while. You don't have to like worry about me getting jealous with you. It's okay if you guys ran into each other. And it's like, I did technically lie to you though, so that I do feel bad about this.
But also, she's very quickly trying to be like, you don't have to worry about this. And be like, girl, you're the one who was like, wait, what were those details again, girl? Like,
when exactly?
It's like, Himari should also maybe be like, maybe I should just mind my own goddamn business right now.
Where were you with the girl? Yeah, so Himari starts to feel bad because she's like, I don't know, these two are like, kind of like really innocent, and I don't know if I want them to go without any supervision on this date. And she also feels guilty because like, I pushed them to do this. So, Tersaka's like, I mean, I could like skip club practice and like keep an eye on them. And Himari's like, no, I can't let you do that. And so she instead heads off incognito to keep an eye on her friends. But there is the problem that, like, it's a very crowded day because it's Christmas Eve. And they're in Shibuya, which, is the least populous area in all of Japan. So what are all these people doing?
It's basically farmlands, if I recall.
Yeah, there's two crazy guys holding a ping pong match over there. What's going on?
But there's no heads to bounce off of. It wouldn't even work.
Iamori has also decided to come, and Himari's like, you don't need to worry about this. They're not your friends. And Iamori says, I mean, they are my classmates, and like those are like college guys. You're like trying to look out for them on your own. You could be in danger if something does happen. And Himari, in typical romantic lead fashion, thinks to herself, oh, but this makes it seem like I took off time from work to go on a date on Christmas Eve. Who are you addressing this to?
I know the Japanese media can be known for being like very hounding towards certain people, but I'm like, would any in the world be like, Himari took off the day before Christmas to go on a date with a boy? Like, we're done with her. She's lazy. She doesn't care anymore.
This is the most Catholic guilt thing I've seen from a manga lead. I feel like.
Even I'm like, come on, you're allowed to, like, the Lord wasn't even born yet, all right? You can't even devote yourself to him at this point. It's Christmas
You
Eve.
can't feel guilty on Christmas Eve. Come on.
If you did, all that labor was for nothing.
And also, you don't have to feel guilty on Christmas Day either, because he's a baby then.
Yeah. In fact, he would never want you to do that. You'd be making him sad if you felt guilty that day.
Just play a drum and everything's fine.
Yeah. You gotta keep a specific
Nice.
beat. A ba-rum-ba-bum-bum kind of, rhythm.
Yeah. I've seen the Animaniacs special.
Which is famously where they invented the drummer boy from, I believe, actually. That's
Exactly.
where the song was first coined. Not as common as like the state song and all that, but Little Drummer Boy, Animaniacs classic.
Brief aside, because we are getting into Christmas season, and we might as well have this.
Are we?
Discussion.
Because I tried to play Christmas music and my boyfriend basically slapped my phone out of my hand. Now, that isn't what happened. That is hyperbole.
You've got a good man, Quinn. That's a good guy right there. Yeah.
I tried playing Christmas music and he was like, what are you doing? No. It's November 1st. And I'm like, getting into the Christmas spirit. He's like, not until after Thanksgiving. And I'm like, Christmas is old news by then. It's old hat. Like,
we're already on to Valentine's by then. Come on.
The carols have already been sung at that point. The halls have really already been decked. Nobody gives a shit about Christmas, by November 30 or 27th.
I was just going to say that it is kind of weird to me having been brought up in a not religious household, but I grew up on the Rankin Bass collection of stuff. So along with all the Santa stuff, there having been little drummer boy in there, just indoctrinating me into like an understanding about.
Hey, you know,
I was in a fucking major play when I was in daycare, dude. Like,
who did you play?
I was a fucking sheep.
It's kind of fucked up.
I method acted. I put some of that hay in my mouth.
Did you? Oh my god.
I was 4.
That honestly, that's on them. They shouldn't have been letting you kids next to all that.
Shouldn't have put that straw there. What do you expect? It's like 24-year-olds on stage together, some of them having to recite lines that they don't know the meaning of, and you've got props while they're all dressed up like animals. One of them's gonna get bored and try eating the straw, Quinn.
I was gonna say, I just had to interact with a bunch of very pre-K young age children, and I cannot imagine the idea of hosting them in any kind of play, unless it was one that was 15 seconds long. And even then, it's still gonna be real dicey if we can get through it.
Anyway, eventually, as they're waiting around, they do manage to spot the girls. And Himari's like, "Oh, look how dressed up they are. They picked out their cute outfits and stuff." And I like how Iamori is like, "How can you tell?" And Himari says, "Well, look, compare their look to mine. It's night and day." And like, wait, what? It's completely not computing for him.
It's funny on a different level because, like, on one level, she would be able to tell, like, oh, these girls are really actually, like, dressing pretty cute, and, like, you know, like, this is their, like, dressed up version, and, like, oh, you don't get it. You don't actually, like, notice that stuff, maybe, necessarily. Yeah. But in actuality, they are not far off in designs. Like, all of them are wearing, like, long winter coats and everything like that, and these are, like, toon background characters, so they don't really get focused on, so, like, honestly, they don't shine at all in comparison to Himari.
I mean, I think a part of it is that we don't really get to see them in their actual looks until considerably later because they're covered up entirely by their winter coats except for like one panel. Yeah. So you don't like actually see what fit they've got on.
Yeah.
Anyway, Himari is like, "Oh yes, they're doing their best to make sure that they bring out their best qualities and stuff." Which, you know, it makes sense. That's the way that she looks at it as, you know, makeup designer and as a believe in her in that message of, you know, like making your best quality shine and everything. College guy shows up along with a friend for the double date. I literally, while reading this chapter the first time, Quinn, was like, what if just the one guy shows up to get both of them? And I was like, all right, that'll be maximum suspicious if he's the only guy.
Oh, yeah.
But Iamori recognizes the two as, yep, those are the guys who hit on Kana's friends. And he's like, you know, I do find it surprising that your friends would want to go out with college guys at all if they've like never dated anyone before. And Himari says, like, yeah, apparently they said they were like fine with it, and you know they built up their courage, and they were like, yeah, we're kind of nervous about it, but we're okay as long as like the two of us go together. So. You know, Himari is kind of like doing that thing where she's like, she's worried for their safety, but also like, this is a big step for them, and I'm kind of proud of them for doing it. Sumire gets a call from them, and so she's like, yeah, okay, I know that you were going to check out those guys. Did you get to do that? And Himari says, yeah, we're in a completely different part of the restaurant, so I can't really keep an eye on them right now, and I'm worried because they serve alcohol here and everything. And so Sumire says, are you sure that you're going to have enough time to actually do all of this? Because, of course, she's supposed to be making preparations for Christmas tomorrow. And Sumire brings it up and is like, I don't know about this. And Himari's like, I gotta go. You know, still busy here. Then Iamori starts to broach the topic of like, yeah, so what's going on? And Himari says, like, what were you guys talking about before when you ran into her? And he says, oh, I'll talk about it later. And then at that moment, there is a yelp, and Himari immediately bolts and goes to go and check on the girls. When she gets there, oh no, someone just spilled a glass. Everything's totally fine. No horrible things have happened.
Yeah.
So, Himari's like, God, I completely like wasted my time basically. Like there was no reason to worry, and like I wasted all this time here when I had all this work to do. But at the same time, she says, this was the best present I could hope for. The fact that like everything went well and nothing bad happened. Because she is a good person,
Yep.
Even though she's got that. And I like that that's her priority. But Iamori realizes like that, she has spent a lot of time doing this. And so before she leaves, he says, why don't you hire me to prep for your Christmas party? You're going to throw it at home. So as your house cleaner, that can fall within my duties. And Himari says like, but I said I was going to set it up, and now how am I not supposed to do it anymore? He's like, I'm your house cleaner. This is the exact kind of thing that you're supposed to hire a house cleaner for. Like, it's still within, like, the realm of stuff. So, yeah, they agreed to that. And, hey, it's a happy ending for everybody.
Yeah, it's a cute chapter. I like seeing Himari kind of look out for these two friends of hers who... Nick, write it down now. Yamada and Yano. Yeah, we're going to have to remember those. These are important characters. They're going to be significant coming forward, Just wait. This is going to be like the new Nina, We didn't get to, have to talk about it this week, but Blue Box has been incorporating Nina more and more. So I think these two are going to be the new characters we're just going to have to be on the watch for to blow up next year, 2026.
Nina is a weird character because, like, I feel like in casual conversation, completely unrelated to Blue Box, I'm like, yeah, I know who that is. But then whenever I read a Blue Box chapter, I'm like, what the fuck is that girl's name again? In the context when it actually matters. I don't remember her ever.
The part I now know her more exclusively because of Eerie Gray shouting the name in our chat every time she would come up. I know her friend is Nina. I don't know what Nina looks like. So there was a moment in the most recent chapter where there was like a lineup of 3 different women. And I was like, one of those 2 is Nina. Both of them I think could be, but I'm not 100% positive.
Okay. New series alert in Shonen Jump. It's called The Mage Next Door. Chapter 1, Osoegawa the Mage. The premise is that there is a mage named Osoegawa. Would you believe it? He lives in a magical world, and he and a bunch of the other mages hone magic and stuff. And he's a weird slacker who designs all these spells to do weird things. Like, oh, I've just created a magic that heals muscle soreness. And so, boo, there you go. And all the other mages are like, fireball, lightning bolt, that kind of thing. Asoe gets summoned before the Divine Magus. So she's like, yeah, so what you been up to lately? And he's like, well, I made a magic that removes hairballs. I made a magic that makes sparklers last longer. Which is, okay, why do you make magic like that? And he says, well, to me, my normal life is more important than fighting. Like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Cool. But she says, like, all right, yeah, so you're a shut-in. Get it. You know that there are mages in the human world who do bad shit? Yeah, we can't let that happen. Go to the human world and capture them. And Osoegawa is like, no. And she's like, nope, you can go. And he keeps on trying to make excuses. And so eventually he's like, why don't you send someone who knows battle magic? And she says, you're a weird person who's got a lot of weird magic. And because all the people focused on battle magic, don't have a wide array available to them, they probably wouldn't be ready for every different type of scenario. So if anyone can do this, it's you. And also you're my top pupil. Go. Also, you used to be originally a human, which I don't know if there is a real significance to that. There probably is. Anyway, they dress him up in casual clothes, warp him off into the human world. He shows up there, immediately lies down, and he's like, I don't want to be here. Also, the Divine Magus sent a clone, a little tiny clone of herself, to support him by, telling him to do his job. So keeps on trying to sleep, and then gets picked up by a delivery person who's just sees him, like in the middle of the road, and is like, "Are you okay? Are you sick? Are you suffering heat stroke?" And so I was like, "I was just taking a nap." And he's like, "Oh, no, this is bad. Why don't you get on here and I'll take you to safety?" And so they go home. The delivery boy is named Keisuke, and he works at a mart in kind of the middle of nowhere with his mother. And so they, let Azoigawa, stay there and, drink water and stuff. And he's like, he's talking to himself because he's talking to the mini Magus, and they're like, I don't know what's going on there. But he seems to be a nice guy, and he enjoys their food. So they're cool with that. But he says weird stuff like, I'm 321 years old, and so on. And then halfway through the chapter, Quinn, something vaguely interesting starts to happen. So...
What do you mean, Nick? You weren't regaled through 30 pages of this dude just kind of nonsensically slacking through things? Yeah.
So Keisuke's mother, as they, drink together, she falls asleep, and Keisuke indicates yeah, I'm glad the mom had a lot of fun today because ever since Grandpa died last year, she hasn't been doing too well. It's been kind of give and take recently. But don't worry about it. You make yourself at home. And Asoigawa says, being able to laugh as a family like you did today, that's true happiness. It reminds me of the old days. And then, he goes to sleep. But when he comes back downstairs the next day, the place has been ransacked. The windows are shattered. Some shelves are overturned against the wall. And Keisuke and his mother are like, holy shit, we just found the shop like this. It seems like a robbery. Everything here is gone. But Asoigawa realizes that magic is in the air. He senses a chill and realizes that a mage is responsible for this. Keisuke's mother is really upset. She, picks up a family picture and is like, I can't believe that this happened to the place that your grandfather left for us. We need to be strong, even though she's crying. And Asoigawa says, it's going to be right. I'm going to catch the criminal and get back everything, so don't cry. And then he asks to borrow Keisuke's bike and a water gun. We see the mage responsible for the thefts. He's got collection magic, so he's just vorping stuff to them in order to steal it. Very handy. And but Azoigawa shows up, and he starts using his weird spells to battle them. The first one is hair tie magic. I don't know why. I don't know how that would be a good thing to have if it binds together multiple people's hair, but it does. It bonks them together, and then he says, you guys robbed the place. Stop robbing people. Stop ruining other people's peace. One of the mages draws his wand and starts to cast a spell, but he suddenly gets yanked into the ground by his shirt because of lint removal magic. I guess that's a way of doing that. The other mage notes that it's really weird for a mage to have two types of magic. That's the most the mages tend to learn. So there's the rule, Quinn. But you can only have up to two forms of magic. Who would have ever thought of such a thing?
Well, we'll see. I mean, series usually stick hard and fast to this rule. So, it's important. We'll see if we ever find somebody else who has a third magic. That'd be crazy.
Yes. So Asoigawa opens up his coat, and he's got big pockets full of wands, each which has a different spell in it. And, yep. So the enemy mage is like, all right, I get it. You just wanted to, steal from the humans at that shop, right? We'll leave you to do that. And then we get a flashback. We learn that Asoigawa's family were all murdered when the divine Magus found him. And she says, well, I'll be your parent from now on then. But Asoigawa says, why did this happen? What was taken from me will never come back, which is a very interesting thing for a little kid who's just been through trauma to say. It's just, I don't know, it's bizarrely poetic wording.
He was feeling particularly pithy before his parents were slaughtered, so that was just carrying over. He was just he was like, I gotta be a little more poetic with this than perhaps to be expected at my age.
Asoigawa declares to the enemy mage, you think it's easy to steal from humans? There's nothing in any world that should be easy to steal. Man, you were a lot, better at talking when you were a kid. What does that mean?
He saw a lot of trauma. He had one good thought, and then after that, it was like, "You bad, no good, me hurt now."
It's not good. No one should have stuff that you can take easy. Water gun. One of his spells increases the power of water guns, so it shoots a giant, like, hydro pump of water at the guy. And, so a guy was like, all right, I should capture them. And the Mini-Magus tells him to use a divine magic seal. There's a seal that's on, like, a stamp that he can just pop on their heads, and it immediately sends them back to the magic world. So that happens. They're captured. Hooray. The divine Magus gets the report and is like, all right, now all we have left is, well, I guess we're just getting started. And we're going to need Asoegawa to work very hard. And she's got a whole booklet full of people that Asoegawa is going to need to also capture. Anyway, Asoegawa goes back to the mart. He says goodbye to Keisuke and his mother. And after delivering all their stuff back, he uses magic to put everything back in place. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess you do actually have magic. He turns to leave. They say thank you to him. And Asoegawa says, I'm the one who should be thanking you. He walks off. The Mini-Mega says, wow, you're willing to work hard, huh? And Asoegawa says that getting to share the family's food and then see them all sad, he says, it reminded me of when I was human. If there's still some unhappiness out there that I can do something about, then I want to help somehow. Yep. So he's a slacker, but he's got too big a heart to stand idly by while bad things happen to other people. That's his thing.
I will say I didn't particularly feel a ton towards this series until it hit that like mid-chapter through, like, oh, actually this dude does care about things moment. And it was kind of interesting seeing how kind of bleak that got, as you mentioned, just like the what's dead will never come back. Like, that was kind of intense for like a chapter 1 flashback. So, I kind of appreciated the little bit of energy going in there. And I like the idea of his using like minor spells to actually be very effective in combat. There's like a very Usopp level energy to that I kind of like, but unfortunately it's not actually done super creatively beyond like the water gun spell. The other ones don't make sense. I don't understand how a lit removal spell like slams you into the ground.
Because like when you pluck lint off of something, you yank the shirt so hard that it slams it downward.
I guess.
I think that my thing about this series is that, it's weird when a manga that kind of presents itself as an eccentric comedy is at its best when it's being serious. There's just something odd about that. It's fine to like have good serious moments in a comedy series, but nothing in the humor connected for me in this first chapter. And I think that it's gonna need to really have that come in for me to really give a shit about this. Because that's like Asoegawa's presumably the way he's going to be acting by default, is that more comedic persona that we saw where he was being a slacker. And I was like, all right, this guy just kind of sucks. I don't like him and he's not funny. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will be interested to see what the next couple chapters can bring, but I don't think this was necessarily a incredibly strong start.
But we have got Otter of the Flame to talk about. Chapter 25, Urdur the Evergreen. Urdur has summoned her partner, the spirit Jormungandr, who again doesn't look like a snake at all. Very upsetting. And she goes out and covers her spear in like a tree trunk, but it's sharp, I think. Goes charging into a bunch of troops, summons like contorting tree trunks that go after all these ogre-like monsters afterwards and just completely buries them. All the roots of the tree swallow them up. And she says, this is a tree burial. You will be given honorable deaths at the bottom of the world tree. Yep. However, immediately after getting back from that, she goes back to Hyukin and says, go away. You guys rudely intruded on my territory. Go away. And she calls for Verda to get back to defending their territory, but immediately runs into Otter and company again, who are just kind of like looking after the base, helping out, like looking after meals and stuff. And Oter explains like, we're sorry that we, asked for help with no recompense. That was very rude of us. And Hugin says like, yeah, we're going to be providing backup to you. But Erder says, well, yeah, but you're using our ingredients of firewood. And Oter says, no. We brought you supplies from our ship. The greatest courtesy that it can be offered in my homeland is presenting a warm meal, and I wanted to show you that. And Erder's like, oh, you want me to eat outsider food then? And Verda immediately starts chowing down, completely independent of this. Honestly, the best moment of the chapter, I feel like, just Verda being like, oh, cool food.
Yeah, sweet.
Completely undermining that. Oter asks for permission to break a tree branch so that he can prepare a delicacy that is local instead. And Erder's like, this guy's too fucking nice. Fine, Verda, you could guide him. And days pass with Oter and everyone insistently helping and just being like too nice about stuff. And we get a little montage of Erder opening up gradually over the course of a few days. Starting off very rude and then kind of opening up more until 9 days have gone by. And she says, Oter, follow me. And he is taken to a sauna. Wasn't expecting that. You know how forest peoples are with their saunas, Quinn.
It's that very well known. I mean, this is Tolkien, Nick. Like they've always, you see elves, they're always chilling out in their saunas. I'd make a really sweet like elf Lord of the Rings reference, but I don't know anyone besides Legolas.
So Verda and Erder and Oter are hanging out in a sauna, and Oter's like, that's kind of weird, and Verda says, yeah, but you gotta stay properly hydrated. Here, have some white birch sap. And Oter's like, oh, okay. And Jormungandr appears and smacks him, which I think is the offering of the birch sap, I want to say. Anyway.
It looks like a bunch of leaves. Is it not just the leaves? She's like, all right, we're now going to summon the ritual, but maybe there is the sap in there.
I guess. Yeah, Erda says, secret ritual to summon back the fire spirit. So she pours some of the sap onto the coals of the sauna, and so then mist comes up from it. And she says to Oter to fill his lungs, and then says, answer my questions honestly. How did you interact with your spirit? Was it a partner or a slave, a weapon or a comrade? Why do you want to summon back the spirit? And Oter says he just wants Vilgia back so that they can talk more. He says that she was always considerate toward me, and I was too immature as a medium. So I always consider it too, and we never got into a single fight. And Vilgia may not desire it, but I want to know more about her. If it's permissible, I want Vilgia to share their regrets with me. So then they go out into the spring, which again, forests and hot springs. Like,
Nick, what is so wrong? Don't you remember all the sexy saunas in, oh, come on, Quinn, think of another thing with elves in it. All the D&D games we played?
So... I'm just saying, in a fucking Viking series, Quinn, all these opportunities.
I agree. I think this is a little. I want to say anachronistic, but they're fantasy creatures. You could do whatever you want with them. It's just very fun seeing elves chill and not be like prissy, annoying, stuck-up dickheads. Galadriel, is that another elf?
Yes.
Okay, good. Like I know too.
Erder says, like, yes, this is Erdarbrunner, the spring that weaves fate, a spring created from the morning dew of the world tree, which is filled to the brim with magic. And Oter wades in, and Erder explains that there was a time that she was able to hear Jormungandr's voice, and we shared the same life. like family, like comrades. The relief of knowing our hearts are connected creates discord. It may be strange to hear me say this in the middle of a war, but you should speak with your spirit while you still can. And Urda says, okay, I'll do that. Yep. So almost as soon as they've gotten into the spring, Urda's like, all right, getting out. This is proceeding at a breakneck pace. Here we are in the sauna. Here we are in the hot spring. Now let's get out of the hot spring. So then she says, breathe in some of the outer air. I will try to establish direct contact with the fire spirit. And as she leaves, Verda says to Otter, like, yeah, I told you she was kind. And she explains that in the past, elves were seen as products and were targeted by invaders. She says, our parents' generation cut off their own ears so that they wouldn't be turned into those products. 100 years ago, when my big sister became the tree warrior, she created this autonomous region, and we grew stronger. My big sister hates humans in order to protect her family. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, sounds like a fairly good reason, honestly. Yeah. All things considered. Anyway, now they're dressed again, and Urda says, "Now I will bestow the secret ritual on you." There is so much scene fast forwarding going on.
Yes.
One of the other horns has shown up and says, "Thank you, Dodoa, for the spell you left behind. Thanks to that, I'm gonna kill the Flame Warrior." Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it's the little jerk who showed up at the end of the last arc, right? Or
I wasn't willing to jump to that conclusion because it could be another one who looks like them.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I assume, though, that this is the dude who got stuck in the ice castle part and, like, called Suitor an annoying dickhead, like, several times. And we're like, no, but he's sacrificing himself. He's the good one of you evil guys. I'm not super crazy about this arc so far. I like some of the world building stuff that they've done with the elves, but the characters are all just fine. That's big problem with Oda right now is everything is just kind of fine, but it's not really, I don't know, inspiring me with much or filling me with much right now. The art is, but the story is just kind of there.
I'll also give some credit to Kawaguchi for introducing two giant-breasted women and being like, hot springs sauna episode, and then having them dress like in a way that actually makes sense, that you would go into a hot spring with, like, yeah, there's a towel.
I was going to say, this has not been, who's the artist of this series? I always blank on their name.
Yuki Kawaguchi.
Yeah, I don't think Yuki Kawaguchi seems like, the women have enormous breasts sometimes, but it's never like horny or fan servicey or anything like that. So, it's one of those things where I kind of just appreciate that it's like, all right, different, kind of body types finally getting shown in a series for a little bit.
I mean, there is what was it, Oldie? I can't remember the name of the wind spirit. She's pretty ridiculous, but
sure, anyway. Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, she is rather extreme, but it's still not that bad.
Yeah, I think the problem in terms of the characters here is like, I mean, Verda, I think, makes a strong impression because she's just very impulsive and stuff, but Urda is just kind of like, all right, yeah, an elf who hates humans. That's just kind of like, you half expect that with any elf that shows up in a fantasy setting. And there's so much lore dumping going on that it doesn't feel like we actually know who these people are as people. We just like are being more told their background more than how they act and everything.
Very much so.
But I don't know. We'll see if we get any chance to actually explore deeper. It feels like with Oter, it's like it's constantly in a race against like people losing sight of it and getting canceled. So. Speaking
of getting canceled, Nick, let's talk about Ping-Pong Peril's final chapter.
Final chapter. Those. We don't get the rest of the chapter title yet. Yeah, Tyro won his Ping-Pong Peril match in space. Seemed like he was going to be drifting off into space, but was rescued by the sudden appearance of a spaceship. and is woken up in a sick bay of some kind with a Bacta tank in it too, which would I guess where he would have been thrown if he had been out there much longer. Mutsuki is also there. Tyra says like, "Oh, hey Mutsuki, I'm glad you're okay. Where are we? Oh, there's gravity. Are we back on?" And Mutsuki slaps him across the face. It's just like, why did you do that? Why did you stay in the match? You could have left me and Momo on our own. You need to think about what happens after the battle ends. And she starts to get really upset and emotional and says, like, I told you to prepare yourself to keep on fighting to the very end so you can make your dream come true. But I also knew that you're someone who wouldn't hesitate to put their life on the line. But the future that Momo and I are dreaming of needs you there. And aw,
it's a very
she cares
sweet
about
moment.
him.
Yeah.
I do wish that Kataoka knew how to draw people crying. Every time that someone tears up, it really is. It does not look good.
I will say, I do think the art was one of the weaker parts of this series that perhaps maybe held it back slightly. Even though I think it fits this series very well, I do think this is a series with not the most impressive expressions.
The expressions are the thing that really stand out. I would say yes. But I think that the main thing was just people were like, a ping pong manga? What the fuck? No. So I think that was the main thing.
Even flipping through it is like you'd have to be like, well, hold on, is that ping pong table on fire? Like, what's going on? Like, wouldn't you at least pause for a moment?
You'd have to actually bother to open it up to that chapter to begin with.
I need to get into the mind of like a 10-year-old Japanese child to try to like really figure out like.
That's easy.
Yeah, it's very easy to understand why if you're flipping through a magazine you wouldn't have stopped at that point. I haven't figured it out yet.
So Tyra does apologize, and also he notices that Mutsuki, her hand is bandaged up, because we did see that when she was helping to like tie down Tyra's toe line, that like her hand was being cut up from that cable, and he like takes her hand and stuff, and it's like, oh, I guess these two are actually like very romantically coded now. All right. But Tyra says like, wow, yeah, I didn't think that there would actually be someone who cared about me that much to actually like get hurt making sure that I survived. And so he apologizes and he thanks her. And then at that very moment, the opponent in the spacesuit shows up, is like, yeah, no, it was awkward intrusion here. Goes in, and immediately Mutsuki's like, I'm not into him. Definitely not. But the figure introduces Tyra to their mothership. And Tyra's like, we're in the belly of the beast that just tried to kill us, eh? And the alien removes their helmet and says, no, I never had any intention of killing you. And they just look like a human, but with antennae. Well, I'm like big eyes, I suppose, but it's kind of hard to tell with a manga design. So, yeah, Tyra got patched up outside. The alien says, yeah, it was really dangerous out there with all the debris, but it's okay. We can regenerate your body even if you get blown to bits, so it's fine. Mutsuki also indicates, like, yeah, they're actually fixing up the pivot that was breaking up outside, so they're very much, like, making sure everything's okay. And the alien says that the system rewrite was just part of your trial, Tyra. And Tyra says, like, you said that you were wanting me to become a warrior? What did you mean by that? And let me go back on camera and talk about this.
Okay, let's see here on sec.
The alien declares, Ping-Pong Peril is currently being used for negotiations between planets. All interplanetary disagreements are resolved through Ping-Pong Peril matches, and we have been looking for a warrior who can represent Earth. And Tyra says, I don't get it. So the alien says, in that case, I will explain how the universe was created. The universe was born from the Big Bang, And the particles that were created became atoms through collisions, which in turn made the planets and the Milky Way. After that, life was born and we prospered thanks to wars. Do you get it? Don't you think it's kind of similar to Ping-Pong Peril? And immediately Mutsuki and Tyra are like, no, it's not similar at all. Oh, man.
I really, in the moment they revealed that Ping-Pong Peril was designed to be used to solve intergalactic conflicts, I was like, very dismayed we didn't get to go a little bit longer. Because I'm like, were we going to play ping pong with stars and stuff? Like, were there going to be like ping pong matches? I know someone said he considered the idea of a flat Earth to be used as a ping pong table, but decided he was like, that's perhaps a bit too far. I can't co-sign that theory.
Oh, man. And the alien is insistent. It's like, no, it is similar. Seriously. Earth's ping pong is a sport that seems awfully similar to Ping-Pong Peril, wouldn't you agree? And Cyrus is like, what do you mean they're only similar? And the alien says, Ping-Pong Peril represents the original state of being etched into the DNA of all life. That's why it's used for diplomacy between planets. And Tyra thinks to himself, like, wait a minute, the bartender said that ping pong was invented in 19th century England. And he's like, that old guy told me that it was just a replacement for normal tennis. And the alien's like, you're not very educated, are you? Haven't you seen the Egyptian? Haven't you seen the Egyptian mural from 3000 BC featuring ping pong? It's just a fucking Egyptian hieroglyphs of fucking Anubis and playing ping pong. Oh, it only gets down to the point, which is that Earth is in danger because it is rich in resources and other planets want them. In order to protect your planet, we introduced Ping-Pong Peril to Earth. What we need is an unquenchable thirst for victory and a level of resolve that does not fear death. And after watching your battles thus far, we came to the conclusion that you, Tyra Mikado, are indeed fit to serve as Earth's representative. Will you fight for Earth's sake? We will guarantee your safety and support you. And even Mutsuki, who to this point has seen Tyra do so many things, is kind of like, Tyra. We fade out and cut to the future 1 year later, where an orbital lift has been completed by Mutsuki's company, KSI. And Tyra is there with his sister as they're approaching the orbital lift. We get a flashback to when Tyra came back home and was like, I made the $1 billion yen. And her reaction was already. And I'm like, yeah, already. But Mutsuki says at that point, hey, he worked really hard. And no matter what happens, I'm going to help Tyra out for as long as I live.
Aww.
You like him. You like him. Come on. You basically like just single-handedly decided we're married now. Like,
pretty much, which is honestly the best way for marriage to happen. Well, never mind. Scratch that. Let me not co-sign that necessarily. It can be cute.
So yeah, Tyra has agreed to be the fucking representative of Earth for Ping-Pong Peril, and Mutsuki is going to continue to be his support as we approach the. I'm sorry. It's mostly my computer's not loading it, but I'm also sad because the series is ending. Mutsuki says that she owes Tyra a life's worth of debt. So Tyra gets a notification on his phone in the present, says to Momo that he's got to go and do his part-time job. So she says, all right, be careful. He gets to the orbital lift, meets up with Mutsuki there. and says, I never would have expected you would actually ask for the aliens' technology in exchange for you fighting. And Tyra says to her, well, you saved me. So now it's time for me to return my debt to you. You like her! You like her! So they head up the orbital lift, and she starts to brief him and says, they say if we lose, they're gonna swallow up the Earth. And Tyra says, all right, the entire planet's in danger, I guess. And Mitsuki asks if he's ready to fight. He says, of course, as we get the proper final chapter title, Those Who Keep Fighting. Well, Quinn, I think we said in chapter 1 or 2 of this series, this probably isn't going to last. It's going to be fun while we have it, though. And damned if it wasn't. This was such a good little series. I am putting this right into my short list of series that should have gotten a longer run. But for what we did get, so much fun every single week. It's been a blast.
Yeah. Truly, one of those ones I think we picked up very early on that we were like, this won't last, but I want to read every chapter of it we do get, and it lived up to that. And yeah, I'm going to look fondly on it. This is one I might just reread at some point. 17 chapters is not long at all, and it's such a weird, absurd journey where you just have to be like, yeah, I don't know, the ping pong matches are weird, and halfway through they start talking about aliens. Actually, I shouldn't say halfway through. 9/10 of the way through, it's about aliens or something like that. It's just fun times.
Yeah, I think that Kataoka Sensei showed a lot of creativity and willingness to do absurd stuff, which is a good sign when you've got a mangaka who's just willing to do really weird ideas. So hopefully the craftsmanship catches up to that imagination as they do more work in manga. This was I think their debut series in general, so
it's incredible.
Hopefully their skills improve.
Yeah. There's so much creativity in the different kind of matches and how it handled itself and how it made the stakes actually feel like they mattered in these ping pong matches. It wasn't just Tyra wins because he's the best. There was actual weird mechanics going on, I have to break this table in half so I can win this match, and just fun gimmicks.
So I'll look forward to what they do in the future. But for now, let's talk about Someone Hurts. Chapter 8, Friend. Yeah. So, oh God, I feel like I'm just seeing this and I feel like I've completely forgotten what happened in this chapter. Jeez. Another prompt has happened for Mon Mid. So Mimei is thinking about that when he gets a call from Mizuo. And I do like how Mizuo opens it by saying, are you on a call right now? Yeah, with you. You just called me.
Every so often, there's a good, funny joke in here.
Mizuo suddenly sounds like she's under distress, so Mimei runs off to help out and sees Mizuo being hit on. But there's a girl with braids who has her hand on the wall beside Mizuo, and Mimei is like, is she getting hit on or mugged? And now he can't tell. So he's like, who is this person? And the person introduced themselves as Shrimp Sushi, who, well, her real name is Ebina, but she also listens to Mon Mid. Every character in this series, if they have a name, apparently listens to Mon Mid.
Look, if you're going to make this series work, every fucking character we meet needs to watch this fucking show. Because I don't believe otherwise that this thing is sustainable enough to have its own tournament. If in my mind, I'm true, are there 9 people competing over this at this point? Is this really a competition?
If this series is so popular, Quinn, why is it on at 3 a.m. on a Monday?
I'm fully ready to admit maybe there's some cultural context I am missing. Because this debuted at 3rd in Shonen Jump with its first official ranking. Who knows? Obviously things can change. I'm not trying to put a ton of stock into it. But it says something that it debuted at 3rd. I'm like, is there just a really beloved, cherished spot in every child's heart in Japan just for 3 a.m. comedy shows. Like, even if they're like, oh, I don't experience them, but I know everyone loves them. Like, my dad's always waking up at 3 a.m. to listen to that comedy show.
If this is a series where the humor that we often miss out on, if it hits in with the audience that it's more targeted towards, then I could absolutely see this being like popular, because like we have a level of enjoyment for it when we don't understand most of the comedy. So that's not that weird to me.
Yeah.
Any hoozle. Shrimp Sushi says, you know, she's like, all right, you're part of the Hateful Eight, Eel Potato. So here's some advice that you guys need to take to heart. But immediately Mizu was like, oh, did you know that Zebra the rapper did something? And Mizu was like, Mime says, Mizu, she's talking to you. She's saying something. And Shrimp Sushi says, who is that, by the way? Is that your boyfriend? And Mizuo says, no. Mime is my good-looking guy, which is... I love that expression. No, he's just my good-looking guy.
It's a great line.
So he tries to introduce himself and uses his name of like, out in the woods, and just like, oh, yeah, you actually feel like start getting submissions lately. Okay. And Miso is like, I'm Eel Potato. It's like, oh, why are you blatantly lying? And then she's like, oh, no, wait, I guess you are. So, yeah, she approached this girl without actually knowing who she was, I guess. But according to Miso, she was just like, yeah, she started harassing me out of nowhere. And Shrimp Sushi says, like, I noticed the keychain. So that's how she was using Lister Mohammed. Anyway, so she's blown away that, the Eel Potato is such an accomplished person when she's actually just like someone her own age. And she's like, I didn't know that you would be in the neighborhood and just palling around with some random listener, which Mizuo gets kind of offended by when, she talks about Mime as just some random listener and starts to like throw hands. She says, let me settle the score. This is a warm-up match for the listener Koshien. And Mime's like, we just submit jokes for that. You're not supposed to fight each other, though. So instead, Mime's like, why don't you guys like play games in an arcade to settle the score instead? So they go in, and Mime's like, all right, yeah, okay, best of 5 guests. And Shrimp Sushi's me like, let's play the fighting game. I've never played fighting games before. So Mizuo is like, yeah, I won. So immediately, then they do basketball, and I like how Mizuo is like, I've been training in basketball, and this time there's no one to stop me, and she still fucking loses the basketball match because she's just really bad at it. She's like, I didn't get enough sleep beforehand. She's like making excuses. I love that.
Yeah.
Then it's like getting gotcha candy stuff, I think. Then air hockey, and then it's a crane game. And so like the last one, whoever gets a teddy bear wins. And so yep, they start going through that. And Mime, as Shrimp Sushi heads off, and Mime says, I don't think that's a bad person. And Muzo says, yeah, I know. Well, why'd you accept her challenge then? Because hearing her insult you annoyed me. And that, gets me maybe like, there's another joke, which is Muso was saying, like, it was really annoying. I remember, like, it happened just yesterday. Yeah, it happened today. I've heard that before. Shrimp Sushi comes back and realizes, like, hey, so were you guys, like, doing research for one-liner prompts? Yeah, we always do that. Oh, that sounds really nice. And she reveals that the reason that she actually approached Miso is like, someone with a shared interest in the world. And so Miso's like, oh, do you want to be friends? And then she Cinderays her and runs away and says she's going to beat her in the Lister Koshian. I mean, all right. I don't think that you should have done that, but okay.
Yeah, I feel like you could have had a much more rewarding experience if you were just honest, but all right.
Mizuo promises not to lose, and so she's There's another joke that I did get, which is like, who do you take me for? I'm the drummer for Man with a Mission. I'm like, I know what that is. That's one of the bands that did a Demon Slayer opening. So I learned who they were. They wear animal masks. So, yeah, that happens, and then they go home and they listen to Monmid. All right,
Nick,
another character's been introduced.
I want to propose an idea for you in the future, because I enjoy discussing this show with you, but we always talk about how these one-liners are dumb. I say, in any episode where they give a new one-liner prompt, we both come to the next podcast with our best one-liner response to that joke, and then the audience decides which one of us wins and gets an imaginary keychain.
I actually did think that we should start doing something like that, because it does look like this is a series that's not going to just end at 18 chapters, seemingly. So we might want to have a little mini game for that.
We're going to do our own...
I guess the prompt this time is... Go ahead.
I was going to say, we're going to do our own listener Kyoshin.
Yes. What would an arcade that plays emotional games be like?
So that's
the prompt for this week.
Well, that was this week's one that just happened. Like,
we should. So if we read the next chapter, we should come prepared.
Yeah, we should come prepared with one.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Let's do Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi. It's chapter 67, The Great Race to Retake the Demon Lord's Castle.
I will need us to move faster.
Let's do that. Yeah, Kiyoshi just straight up says, like, yeah, there's someone in the demon realm I want to protect. He brings up Mr. Yamada, doesn't actually name him, though. Then I've forgotten his name, but the captain of the group is like, you're punk as hell. I love that. And Sosuke also agrees to stay and help out because, you know, he wants to test his abilities. And then the captain's like, you're a good guy. But he says that it's not as straightforward as like, oh, sure, you can come along. They want them to compete for the rights to like race us to the top of the Demon Lord's castle. If you can beat us there, then you can help us out. But if you lose, you got to go straight home. So earn my respect. 3, 2, 1, go! They take off and are like over the fence before they finish counting down. I love the contrast between them because there you can see like the skill level difference even as they're climbing over too. It's a nice little touch.
What's his name having to like get over it like he's Liam Neeson and taking 3 like
So Kiyoshi and Sosuke race off, but we get a flashback from Sosuke's perspective because he was listening in on something that his father told Kiyoshi following his treatment, which was for the next 30 days only use your crest exorcism for a max of 3 minutes a day. Otherwise, you might permanently lose your precept power. So don't do that. So Sosuke is a little bit worried for Kiyoshi because of that. Like, we don't want him to expend this ability. Some demons show up. They look tough. Sosuke blasts through them with some of his abilities, and Kiyoshi's, like, oh shit. And so, fuck. Sosuke says, I'm going to exercise everyone today. However, Sosuke nearly gets taken by surprise. So Kiyoshi races in to help out. And Sosuke's like, no, don't do anything crazy. But Kiyoshi picks up a pair of bones from the table that the demons were eating at and uses them to channel an exorcism bullet and blows away the demon instead without having to exert himself. And Sosuke's forced to admit, like, oh, right, he's the ultimate exorcist. Maybe I shouldn't be that worried about him. But then he cinderes up and is like, I'm not worried about you. Shut up.
I love the actual panel, though, of Kiyoshi being called the ultimate exorcist and just the smile he has on his face in it. It's he's very satisfied, and I enjoy seeing him that way.
We get a brief montage of Sosuke and Kiyoshi racing through various obstacles and enemies together, and they reach the top of the tower, and they're like, we did it! And immediately afterwards, everyone else shows up, and they're like, hey, you guys win. A promise is a promise. I'll take responsibility for your lives. So here marks the birth of Team Demon Realm Protectors with a Z. And they're like, yeah, you were trying to take a bunch of detours to make sure they won. Shut up! So that's cute. They're all goofballs like that. finally, we are given more information on the rest of Helzebub's family because he's got 3 kids: Helzebobo, Helzelulu, and Helzegaga, whom we've already met. But before we get the full extent of the explanation, suddenly a crack opens in the air, and it's rent open by the appearance of the big bad himself, the great demon lord Helzebub. He takes Astaroth's throne and says, "It's a bit cramped for me." And that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah, I'm excited to...
Actually, it might be she. I'm not sure. So
Very true. I do like that, we get like an exciting little tease up of what's going to happen, and we're establishing like the 3, generals that we'll go up against. And even though we've seen Gaga kind of get his shit stomped in, we do know that he just like gets stronger every time he survives an encounter. So there's something in there, and he's also the 3rd ranked. It's just a really like well done way of like kind of creating like an intriguing scale to consider as we're going forward into what is presumably going to be a pretty substantial arc.
Yeah. Fun stuff. You know what else is fun, Quinn? It's New Exorcist is fun. Chapter 121. Is fun.
Now, are we skipping Marriagetoxin then because we didn't realize there was one?
Oh, right. Here it is. It's a chapter. I don't even see the chapter number anywhere. Yep. So Garrow's got to, eat this sack full of poison. So he's like, I don't have a choice. I've got to gamble on this last shot. He eats it, immediately starts coughing up blood. And the animal user is like, fuck you. You can't mix poison in your fucking body. Die. And he opens his mouth. He's very toothy, goes to attack Garrow. But as he just manages to dodge out of the way, Ultra Instinct stuff kicks in and his survival instinct takes over. And he does the thing that he has to do. So he makes his super special poison concoction thing inside his body. And thump thump, it awakens, and we get narration and stuff. And then he does like how would you describe this wrestling move that he does, Quinn? Is it like
it's like
a high angle rock bottom or something?
Yeah, it's almost like a what does like call it, like an inverted British bulldog, but you're also doing it to yourself. Like, yes. I don't know how he is not going to get as hurt doing this move as the other guy.
I guess it's closest to like an STO. You grab the person, you sweep them forward, but he is doing a very high angle version of it, right on the head, and smash them into the ground. And smoke clears, and Garrow says, "You have my thanks, Toshiro." Who is just kind of pissed off that happened. And Garrow says that, like, the bloodlust awakened this new ability. PK is like, "Oh, so he was just pretending to kill you." And Toshiro's like, "No, I wasn't. I was trying to kill him." But Garrow says, "Within that vicious bloodlust, I sensed it, Toshiro. I sensed that you carry a weight on your shoulders that you must continue to bear." And there's a brief image in Toshiro's mind of what appears to be a woman whose face we don't fully see. And he's like, "No." That's the chapter.
Hey, I do like the idea of giving this guy a little bit of a redemption story. It's one of the more fun parts of Marriagetoxin in my mind, is that it does try to seem to give everybody some kind of optimistic ending. So the idea, like, hey, all right, this beast user, kind of a sucky dude, maybe we can get like a little bit of a sad story out of him.
I don't think there has been a single chapter since he's been introduced of Marriagetoxin that's gone by where I've been like, so who is PK? What's this big secret? What's going to happen? He's going to like reveal to be like Sensei in disguise, and I'm gonna be like, I knew it. Like, I'm not gonna be caught off guard by this guy. All right. Now we're the New Exorcist. Chapter 121, North High's second goddess, Quinn. we just got done introducing a new love interest for Gakuro. You know what time it is. It's time to introduce a new love interest for Gakuro.
I truly, I sat here in so much confusion as I read this chapter, and I was like, didn't we just establish what's her? I was starting to learn her name. She was such a constant element. And then in this chapter alone, she is already pushed into a background squad like role again, and it's truly terrifying.
Seems as though the big opponent that Gakuro is going to have to contend with in the sports festival is the second goddess of North High, which was a thing that was actually established a long ass time ago. That Suo was like the third goddess, I want to say, at the time. So I guess we're going to actually learn who the others are. Yeah. So Hinano Kagura is her name. She is the captain of the basketball team, which is very successful. She's also a very high scorer, so she's a very competitive person as well. She says to Gakuro, "This is the start of battle 6,205. My life is a war. For 17 whole years, 6,205 days, I love me a good contest. And according to Sayachi, you're the sports festival king, and you want to fight me, huh?" So, yeah, someone's been talking shit on Gakuro's behalf again. It's Nue. And then they like shake hands. And Gakuro is briefly like concerned that like this is going to get all of her fans to hate him, but everyone in the school hates him anyway. And he's like, she's testing my determination. She's like coming at me like as like a respectful opponent. And then immediately Kagura whispers to him and says like, "By the way, if I like your style, if I win, I'm gonna date you." So, all right, it's another girl that just immediately was like, "I like this guy. I want to jump him." Just, you don't know him at all yet. Why is this every girl that we've met in like the last year of new Exorcist has been like, "I like that guy. He's so dreamy."
Look at this dude. I can't get enough of him. I know nothing about him, and his demeanor tells me he's a big wuss, but man, is that exactly what I'm into.
Sports festival begins. There's all sorts of decorations set up. That one cat girl, she's in disguise with a mustache and is kind of cute. Yep. It starts off with a big relay race. Yep. And then there's a 100-meter dash between the girls. Yep. And I do like that Natsuki is like squaring off with Kagura. And she's like determined and stuff, and then it's like, oh, she's very slow. she's just not good at running because she's been sitting down and at a console her whole life. But Shitatsu is very fast, and it's like, yeah, this is payback for messing with my big brother, and she takes first place. But boom, Kagura's like, "Damn, you're really fast. You must be the fastest in the school," and Shitatsu's like, "Nope. Because Kazusa Suo is instead." Yep. But before we see any of that shit, oh man, it's the new Demon Lord guy that's coming out, and wind is swirling around them, and they say, "My heart is so warm, it's practically glowing." I do like the artwork of this guy's face when they are introduced. It's like, oh wow, this is like off-putting in a different way. So
look,
I like that.
I won't shoot on the series for its art. I think it generally is pretty cool with its character designs. I do not get why we have another girl. I don't understand how this could possibly be satisfying as a reader. But then again, I also don't get the 100 girlfriends who really like you or any of those things that are like, here are 1,000 female love interests. I just don't get how this could possibly be interesting.
There was actually, after this chapter, a little bit of discussion in the Discord of like, why don't we petition Quinn and Nick to read 100 Girlfriends instead of this? And I'm like, I would rather eat sand than read more 100 Girlfriends. No. Like, I'm glad that you guys like it, but no.
I would rather eat sand. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, Akane-banashi story 181, Zwiyun effect. Yeah, that's right, Akane won the Zwiyun prize. Isn't that nice? And oh my god, she's gone from 1,000 followers to 2,700 followers on social media platform. She must not have been very popular. Jesus. If she was like performing and only had like 1,000 followers. But it's trending upward. Hooray. Days pass following the Zuian prize, and then suddenly Tyson shows up in order to visit Akane. But Akane is staying with one of her friends, one of her like high school friends. So Akane is in the middle of like doing a bunch of like planning and scheduling for how busy that she is following the Zuian prize. Tyson comes in. We get a flashback to establish like why this is actually the case, that Akane is like staying here, and it's because she's got no fucking money. Her parents moved while she was in France, so she can't just stay with her family. So she's instead freeloading at Risa's place, and Risa's like the fashion centric girl, I believe.
Yes, I believe you're correct.
So I also like some of the reactions that she's got, like when Tyson shows up, like carrying like a drunk Akane following the prize, and she's like, "Oh my god, she's coming home with a guy. Are you her boyfriend? I gotta tell Jumbo about this."
Yeah,
like,
the Jumbo line's dark, where you're like, "Oh, is that boy still pine after? It's legit been years, dude. You got to make a move."
She'd probably be into it. You guys had a good time when you hung out when you were on that date. Anyway. Akane and the president is racing around trying to get stuff, and Tyson's just kind of like, yeah, this is just kind of a thing that Futatsume have to deal with. It's like they're really into Rakugo, they're really busy, and they got no fucking money yet because they're not super successful yet. But Akane goes to an event that's to celebrate her, you know, her win, and she's also performing. She is at the bar that she worked at. It's really nice because like Miku is so proud of her, because he remembers like when she was first starting off and was like just like struggling to break in at all, and he's like, you can see her finding success. That's our little Akane-chan. It's really cute. I really like that this is kind of a chapter that lets us like get back in touch with like, hey, these are like Akane's roots, and these were the people who were there for her at the very beginning, and they're getting to see the results of her hard work. And she also has been in touch with her Anisans. So, and I like that we can see the spectrum of them, where Maikara is like, yeah, you did a good job. Take care of your health. And then Kyoji's, very straightforward. Gariko's like, I knew you could do it. And Koguma says, well done and congratulations. You could have done better and saved me a lot of stress if you hadn't fucked up in the middle round, though. So then we get her having to go speak to Isho about the results of the Zuian prize. So like 10 days have passed since then. She hasn't actually reported back regarding the task that he gave her at the beginning. The no laughing task. So as she's heading back and is going into the building, she's thinking to herself, like, I'm really conflicted because I want to beat him and I don't want to admit he was right. But, and so she's really distracted as she gets into the elevator. And someone else comes in with her and says, like, where are you going to? Oh, floor 33. All right, third floor. And Akane is like, I said 33. And she says, no. I don't think I can take you to Mastery Show yet. It's been a while, Akane. And holy shit, it's Kaisei. And he's looking very, very put together.
Yeah, let me turn on my camera again here, Nick. I was already feeling a certain way last couple weeks when Shomei showed up in a suit and he started looking very daddy. All of a sudden, I was like, ooh, maybe Shomei's a character I'm going to be on the lookout for. I did not get a chance to read this chapter prior to this. Turning the page and being like, ooh, is this a second Shomei for me to admire? Bro, it's like, oh my god, it's Kaisei.
It's Kaisei, but he's a few years older, so he seems like more in our age range now. Yes.
Yeah.
So, he says to Akane that Iken asked him to come here and said, "I need to teach you before you meet Master Isho the ways of our school." Okay, so yep, getting back into the tension between Akane and the Arakawa stuff. This was a nice chapter to kind of like bridge back from like, oh, Akane's in this hyper competitive mode to like she's back in her real regular life stuff.
Yeah. All right, Nick. Let us wrap up.
Will you finish the journey for me, please, Quinn.
Yes, One Piece, chapter 1164, Davy Blood. Our cover story is now done, so we're over to readers' requests. You can enjoy those at your own image. This is Persona chasing the White Rabbit from the Whole Cake Island arc, so it's kind of cute. In the flashback, there's bad things happening. Imu caught on a hold of Rox and basically did his little flip move on him. So Rox is slowly becoming a demonic entity. And Imu is noting, like, you are persistent, but Rox finishes, don't downplay the power of humanity, monster. Davy D. Jones was once the king of the world. And Imu...
One of the least surprising reveals ever, that Sebek's ancestor was also a D. So.
Yes. And we do see Imu saying, silence! He was never king! Not for an instant! The grievance between Mu and Davy has nothing to do with thee! And Rox is just like, well, then why are you so panicked over something so trivial as the Davy name, huh? It's kept you terrified for years. The thought that the Davies' might will be passed down and one day come to you to fulfill the promise. What's more frightening to you, Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy? Imu doesn't take kindly to this, but it does seem to be that Rox was hitting right on the mark, because he is very angry as he responds, like, your kind will never be seen again. I am going to eradicate you. I have found excellent soldiers to serve, Mu Davy. Gigantic, harmless, and conflicted. And, Rox gets really upset. He's like, you mean the giants? They only want peace. You're a fool. And he's like, yes, this is so great. A willing puppet of a king would never come along twice. And he finishes his activation, and it seems like it's taking over Rox completely. There is a moment where he is trying to kind of resist it, and he just sort of shouts as he's taken over. He's like, "And Davy, by thy own hand, and now erase all life involved in the God Valley." As Imu is just going to turn Rox into his instrument of destruction now. His crew, of course, is like not really. They don't know what this power actually does, so they just think Rox is turning on them for a moment. So Kaido's like, have you finally betrayed us? And Rox just, like, one-handed kind of tosses Kaido in his dragon form. So, showing off exactly how strong he is. He basically deflects an attack for Big Mom, has a square off against Whitebeard, and Whitebeard does not look like he's doing particularly well. They cut one of the pillars of God Valley in half. Like, that's how strong their attack against each other is. And there's a lot of commotion because now the island's just straight up falling apart. Like, this has gotten very, very bad. And the Immortals, not the name. What are they called?
The World Nobles?
Yeah, the World Nobles are the World Nobles basically are like, we got to get out of here. Who should we punish for all of this? We see everybody who are just trying to escape.
Main priority is like, who do we blame for this?
Yeah, they're always assholes. They don't know how to not be a dickhead in a scene, basically. We see that at some point, Dragon has lost Shanks, and he is, really beating himself up over it. He's like, I couldn't even save a single baby. There is a moment of Kuma being like, wait, there's people I think they'd still be alive, lives that I can save, so I have to go. There's something here involving, I think, Captain John and Shiki's treasure. I don't care. I hope you enjoy the rest of the lore book that this stuff is relevant towards.
That bit made me go like, I don't give a shit. It's just treasure.
I'm sure that this is fill in a couple holes that people have been questioning for a little bit. I'm sure I don't. There's a level of my One Piece fandom, unfortunately, I don't have. Is Shanks in that chest? Okay. All right, there we go. So we're tracking that.
He was going after the chest in the previous chapters. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure if this is like some old school Captain John lore we're supposed to get. Rock shows up with, do we know her name? What was her name? We did learn it.
I don't think we know her name yet.
I thought she did say her name, but maybe not. Anyway, it's Teach's mom, and she is clutching him, saying, "Oh gosh, you've lost." Eris, that's right. I knew we had heard it at some point. Eris, like, "I'm so sorry, dear, that you lost. You had to face, Emu in order to save us, but it was too early, wasn't it? Well, that's fine. I'll just jump into the sea, and, we'll swim if we have to. I'll do whatever we have to. We must escape." Excuse me. Cannonballs start getting fired at them. They're told not to let anybody survive off this island. Rox is right behind her. She is most certainly going to be killed in this moment until Kuma flies in, teleports them both away, then teleports himself away before giant explosion happens and kind of ruins everything. Excuse me, I need to take a drink real quick.
Yep. So, Zebek slashes one of the boats in half. Mass destruction is unleashed. Garp is coming in and wants to know what's the condition on the island.
Yes.
And Roger says to his groups, once everyone's on the ship, let me know.
Yeah, so Rox at this point is fully just taken over. He is just killing people, willy-nilly. It doesn't matter. And there is a shout that says, "Get out of here, Rox!" And we see a moment of Emu being like, "Davy?" And we see a big shot of Rox looking over Garp and Gold Roger. And it's like, look at what a mess you are at this point. And Roger kind of notes, like, I can't let you go after my crew. But he hears a voice that calls out to both Roger and Garp, saying, "Help me, please, just kill me." And they both kind of recognize the voice as Rox, who we can see crying as he charges in towards the two of them. And it looks like we are going to now know the full truth of what happened to Rox on the island.
Yeah, it's good to know that this story about Herald is coming close to the end. I thought this was the end for King Herald to come back into this story, and he didn't show up in this chapter at all. So...
Yeah, I guess it's meant to be more that, like, the ramifications of what happened. I don't know. There's got to be more. We have to still get to what Loki himself obviously does and the devil fruit there and everything. But, like, there definitely is a little bit of a, I don't know, confusion kind of sticking around right now of, like, when are we getting, like, we've been at the fireworks factory for a really long time now, actually. Can we, like, go back to going back to it? Yeah. Kind of bored of seeing fireworks now a little bit.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how this flashback resolves when we get to the end of it at this point.
What's wild.
Spinning my wheels.
Yeah. What's wild is thinking about how the volumes of this will play out. And it's just the idea that you would be buying, like, 6 straight volumes of, like, flashback at this point.
All right. Well, that is it for Weekly Manga Recap. Quinn, do you have a favorite chapter this week?
Yeah, I think I am going to give it actually to Ping-Pong Peril, which had a really fun, really entertaining chapter that, like, just blew me out of the water. Just had a great time. Could not have imagined the twist that there would have been galactic Ping-Pong Peril matches. It just... Even without seeing it, I just get to smile thinking about the idea of, like, what would happen if they had to play a ping pong game on the rings of Saturn? Like, what would that have looked like?
I'm going to echo that sentiment 100%. This was definitely the chapter that stood out the most to me. It seems like a very appropriate send-off just to be told, like, yeah, we were going to have ping pong battles in space eventually. I like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that we're not going to be getting any more Ping-Pong Peril going forward, but
alas, we'll keep our eyes open. If we see that the creator of that series has a new series, I'll definitely be checking that out day one. For character of the week, I think I almost want to kind of give it to what's his name, Mr. Drix in Dandadan, the weird
Driss.
Mr. Driss, yeah, like the weird mummy thing. I don't. It's just a curious figure that got nothing else more clear about it by the end of the chapter, except like, oh, he has a crazy ability too.
I get that. I'm gonna go with Kiyoshi for mine. Just the moment of like, the danger of Kiyoshi being brought back, but then that moment where he picks up the bones and still channels his exorcism without hurting himself. And like you said, that like kind of peaceful smile that he has on his face after just wiping the floor with the demon.
Yeah.
Very small moment, but left an impact.
Yes, absolutely. The audience, by the way, picked One Piece as their chapter of the week and Denji from Chainsaw Man as their character of the week.
I get that. Sure. All right, y'all. That is it for this Friday recording of Weekly Manga Recap. We should be back to a regularly scheduled time on Wednesday next week. So be sure to follow us so that you know when the show is going live. We will be doing it again here on twitch.tv/RoloT. Recordings available on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com, iTunes, Spotify, those kind of places. Video version on YouTube. youtube.com/weeklymangarecap, which will have an opening by Mileage X Stillitz and Wisdale Cheddar. We also occasionally have title cards done by Steve Man, who's already can find by just searching for Steve Man art all across the internet. If you want to know when the show is going live, you can follow us on social media. On BlueSky, we are RoloT and Nick F. Time, and there is also the WMR Podcast Twitter, not Twitter.
BlueSky.
We aren't on Twitter anymore. BlueSky account.
I haven't
Also
been on the internet for a while, Nick. Is Twitter still around?
It's still X.
All right.
So. You can also follow WMR Votes, which will keep track of all the MVP and favorite series voting, so make your opinion heard on that. And what else? Join our Discord. It'll be linked wherever this is posted to. Participate in discussions related to the new chapters that come out, discuss the suggestions for manga that we take, and also you'll get a notification when the stream goes live when we start recording the podcast. We also have a Patreon if you would like to financially support the show and get some extra Weekly Manga Recap content. Patreon.com/Weekly Manga Recap. And that should about cover it. Thank you, everyone who helps us make the show what it is. Our supporters, our listeners, and you.
Me? Do I do it?
You. And it's the royal you. Everyone can hear this.
Everyone gets to be a part. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next time. I think we're going to talk about Exorcist Reina and
I think so.
Other things. But that's next week. So until then,
Yes.
You're just going to have to be patient or develop time travel. One of the two.
If you can do that, let me know.
Yeah, I'd love to go back to do a couple things. Just pop back, see the Giants win a Super Bowl again. That'd be pretty cool. I guess I could also stop things, but mostly I'd go back to watch that Super Bowl again. All right, bye.
All right, thank you, everybody. Bye.